Hi, my name is Wakas Khan. I'm a London-based property developer with over 15 years experience developing property in and around London. We mainly focus around areas such as Northwest London, Southwest London and East London, and particularly looking at distressed assets where we can take one property and turn it into multiple properties. So, for example, I'm about to show you through a typical project that we do where we're turning one Victorian house into two individual flats. This property in particular, we managed to purchase off of a developer who was facing financial difficulties. Now, that meant that we had two major advantages when it came to purchasing this property. Number one, the planning was already in place, which meant that we could go straight in and start doing the work. Number two, the property was actually owned by a company, and instead of a property, we actually managed to buy the company. What that meant for us was a significant stamp duty saving. In this particular, almost £50,000 that we saved by buying the company rather than the property, which eventually meant that we had a much larger margin on this build. Now let me show you around the property itself. So this is your average Victorian terraced house in London that we're converting into two flats. There is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath ground floor flat with a garden and a 3-bed, 3-bath, 2-floor maisonette on the first and second floor of the house. Now, in most cases, we would probably buy a house and then get planning, but we got lucky on this one where the planning was already there and we still managed to get it for a good price. You're currently standing in the kitchen diner of the ground floor 2-bedroom flat. It may look a little bit bare at the moment, but if you have a little bit of imagination, we are putting a nice modern kitchen in that corner over there with an island coming out. And the rest of it will be a modern living space for your average sharer or new family that is moving into London. We have a nice large garden at the back that we intend to lawn and put a composite decking on to give it a nice feature for the flat. Often we like to talk about how great a project has been and how great it looks from the before and after perspective, but rarely do we actually talk about all the things that went wrong that we had to deal with throughout the project. Now, with this one in particular, we had a massive problem from a structural perspective. If you look at the property, you'll see that there's brand new yellow bricks that comprise the majority of the first floor and the ground floor. Essentially what had to happen over here, due to the fact that the previous owner had left the majority of the property open to the elements, windows open, for example, it meant that the property went through some significant structural problems. We thought initially it'd be one floor or one wall that we would have to replace, but when it came down to it, we would actually have to rebuild the entire back of the house. In most cases, that would mean significantly higher costs, significantly higher build time, but luckily due to the fact that we are contractors ourselves, i.e. we own our own build company, we managed to actually make this happen within the project timeline and with only a small increase in overall cost. Now let me show you the 3-bed upstairs. Now this is the loft area of the existing property, which we have redesigned to encompass the entire living space for the 3-bed maisonette. As you can see, it's quite a vast space and actually quite unusual for the area. We purchased the property for around £750,000. And as I mentioned earlier, we managed to buy the company rather than the property, which meant we had almost a £50,000 savings in stamp duty alone. Then after spending about £170,000 in the development of the property, we envisioned the overall value of the two flats combined to achieve almost £1.3 million. I hope that gives you a good idea of a typical project that we look to do. And in about 4 weeks' time, I'm looking forward to showing you the final product.